Picture this. It's the evening of January 17, 1950. A winter chill bites through the streets of Boston. While most people are finishing their dinner or settling in for the night, an 11-man crew is about to make history. They're planning to breach one of the most secure cash depots in the United States, stealing the modern-day equivalent of over $30 million, all in under 17 minutes. How did they do it? How did they bypass the guards, the locks, and the cameras without leaving a single clue? And most importantly, where did all that money go? Boston in the 1950s was a city on the rise. Industry was booming, and businesses relied heavily on cash to fuel their growth. Brink's, one of the most trusted names in security, was the fortress they turned to. Its armored cars and depots were known for their impenetrable security. But like any fortress, it had its weaknesses. And that's exactly what a gang of professional thieves led by Tony Fats Pino sought to exploit. For 2 years this crew worked methodically, studying every detail of the Brink's depot. They learned guard schedules, identified blind spots in the security system, and even managed to create duplicate keys for the locks. This wasn't just a robbery, it was a meticulously planned military-style operation. The leader, Tony Pino, was a career criminal with a sharp mind for planning. But he didn't work alone. His crew included Joseph Specs O'Keefe, a skilled lockpicker, and Stanley Gusciora, a quick-thinking driver. Together they formed a team that had one goal: execute the perfect heist. Each man had a role, some handled surveillance, others crafted tools to bypass locks, and a few acted as muscle. They weren't just amateurs looking for a quick score, they were professionals with years of experience in burglary and safe-cracking. Pino's plan revolved around precision and secrecy. The team rehearsed every step of the heist, timing themselves down to the second. No detail was too small. Everything from the route they'd take to the type of gloves they'd wear was planned out meticulously. January 17, 1950. At 7 p.m., the crew made their move. Dressed in dark clothing and Halloween masks, they slipped into the shadows. Armed with duplicate keys, they quietly unlocked the depot's side door. Inside, they found 5 employees counting money. The crew moved swiftly, subduing the staff and tying them up. They issued one warning: stay quiet, and no one gets hurt. The gang knew exactly where the money was kept. They loaded over $2.7 million, nearly $30 million in today's money, into their bags. Every second inside the depot was carefully calculated. By 7:27 p.m., they were gone. 17 minutes, that's all it took. Before we dive into how the gang evaded capture and what eventually led to their downfall, we want to hear from you. Do you think a heist like this could happen in today's world of high-tech security systems and surveillance? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this story so far, make sure to like this video and subscribe to 0 Hour Files. We bring you the most thrilling true crime stories every week. The heist sent shockwaves through the nation. Brink's was supposed to be untouchable. How could a gang of thieves breach one of the most secure depots in America without leaving a single clue? Police and the FBI scrambled to piece together what had happened. But the gang had been careful. They left no fingerprints, no witnesses, and no evidence behind. For years, investigators were baffled. The case became known as the crime of the century. But even the most perfect crimes have their cracks. The Brink's gang had pulled off the heist of the century, but perfection is fleeting. What was the crucial mistake that unraveled their elaborate plan? And then there's the million-dollar question, literally. What happened to the missing $1 million that was never recovered? What followed was a dramatic unraveling: betrayals, desperation, and the eventual downfall of the infamous Brink's gang. But even as the dust settled, one mystery endured: the missing money. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the conclusion of this incredible story. Right after the robbery, the FBI was left scratching their heads. The crime scene was almost pristine. The robbers had even re-locked the depot door on their way out. Forensic evidence was virtually non-existent. No fingerprints, no footprints, nothing. Agents suspected an inside job. After all, how else could the robbers have gained access to duplicate keys and bypassed every layer of security? Dozens of employees were questioned, but none could be tied to the crime. As weeks turned into months, the case grew cold. The robbers seemed to have vanished into thin air. But little did they know, their biggest vulnerability wasn't at the crime scene. It was within their own crew. The gang had a plan sit tight for 6 years before dividing the money. Why 6 years? That's when they believed the statute of limitations on robbery would run out. But not everyone was willing to wait. Joseph Specs O'Keefe, one of the key members, began to grow restless. O'Keefe had fallen on hard times. He needed his share of the loot, but the gang refused. Tensions flared, and soon O'Keefe found himself on the outside of the crew he once trusted. In 1955, O'Keefe was arrested for another crime and faced a long prison sentence. Feeling abandoned by his crew and desperate for revenge, he made a deal with the FBI. O'Keefe began spilling everything: names, roles, and even the gang's hiding spots. Armed with O'Keefe's testimony, the FBI finally had the breakthrough they'd been waiting for. Over the next few months, they pieced together the intricate details of the heist. Surveillance intensified, and by 1956, arrests were made. The gang's courtroom appearances became national spectacles. For years they had been the masterminds behind an unsolvable crime. Now the world watched as their secrets were laid bare. Ultimately, 8 members of the gang were convicted. Each received lengthy prison sentences. But despite their confessions, one piece of the puzzle remained missing: the money. Before we dive into the theories surrounding the missing fortune, we want to hear from you. Do you think the gang was smart enough to hide the money permanently? Or is it still out there waiting to be discovered? Drop your theories in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to 0 Hour Files. We uncover mysteries and legendary heists every week, so don't miss out. Of the $2.7 million stolen, over $1 million was never recovered. Where did it go? Theories abound. Some believe the gang hid the money in safe houses across Boston, intending to retrieve it once the heat died down. But with multiple members arrested, those locations may have been forgotten, or purposely destroyed. Others speculate that large portions were buried in remote locations. Over the years, amateur sleuths have searched tirelessly, hoping to stumble upon the buried fortune. So far, none have succeeded. Then there's the simplest theory: the money was quietly spent. Some gang members may have dipped into the stash before their arrests, using it for living expenses or hiding it with trusted associates. The Brink's robbery wasn't just a heist, it was a moment in history. It changed the way law enforcement approached high-profile crimes and inspired countless movies, books, and TV shows. But for all its fame, one part of the story remains unresolved: the missing million. Next time on 0 Hour Files, a story of high-stakes gambling, betrayal, and one of the most daring heists ever attempted in Las Vegas. You won't want to miss it.